Hi, Dr. Bill here with our next newsletter blog, and I welcome you and thank you for taking the time to listen to me rev on. And today I'm going to talk to you about deuterium depleted water. Sounds like a mouthful, doesn't it? Deuterium. Now, deuterium is a an atom, or sorry, deuterium is a hydrogen element. And I'm going to talk to you first a little bit about elements and atoms, just very simply and very briefly, to help you understand the importance of deuterium depleted water. Now, obviously, there are many elements, and I was fascinated to learn that the only difference between one element to the next, like between hydrogen and oxygen or hydrogen and nitrogen or whatever the element is, even some of the other elements that are high on the periodic table, like uranium, for instance. So they're all elements. The only difference really uh, is the number of electrons orbiting around the the nucleus. So in the atom, yeah, as you know, the atom consists of a nucleus and electrons surrounding the the nucleus, a little bit like the moon around the Earth. So, um, and also to a more complicated degree, the number of neutrons and protons in the nucleus itself. So the nucleus is usually made up of a few other things, but mainly uh, protons and neutrons, which are approximately the same amount as electrons going around. So as electrons, there's more electrons, there's more neutrons and protons. Okay, I hope I'm not losing you already. Okay, so hydrogen has one electron orbiting around its nucleus. And that's why it's given the number one on the periodic table. Uranium, for instance, has 238 electrons orbiting the nucleus. And it's obviously a very dense molecule element, not a molecule. It's a very dense element, and as you know, uranium can be used for nuclear bombs, nuclear medicine, for many things as a great power source. Because um, when you utilize the power in the atom, what holds it all together, it generates uh, great great energy because it's all held together. When you separate it or utilize it, there's a great energy release that takes place, even an explosion in some cases. So, but with an element, you can have different isotopes of elements. So, not all hydrogen is the same. You can have different isotopes. Now, the common hydrogen that we know of, which has one um, proton and one electron, it has no neutron. And about 99.98% of all hydrogen is the what we call the light hydrogen, or the hydrogen that just has the one proton and the one electron orbiting around the one electron orbiting around the nucleus. Deuterium is a different form of hydrogen, and it has a proton and a neutron in the nucleus and one electron. And so that makes it heavier than the other one. And I'm just going to check my uh, notes here. So, yeah, okay. So the the common one is called protium. Just wanted to double check that. So the protium is much lighter than the deuterium, and the more deuterium that we have in the water, then the more harmful it can be to your body because the body can't utilize that water. So you can become, in a sense, you can have plenty of water, but the cells can't use that water that has more deuterium in it than should be in it. Now, normally, what is ideal for the body when the body is well or healthy is 125 parts per million of deuterium and of course the million is merely the protium, which is the lighter hydrogen. So the lighter hydrogen is obviously better for your body, but you do need some deuterium in there, but not too much. So, for instance, there have been treating cancer with deuterium depleted water with some success, but with cancer, they bring it down to about 25 to 50 parts per million. But that's not recommended unless you have a serious illness. So, on the website, Nourish Me Organics, you can get a lot more information on this because I don't want to go into too much technical detail because I've probably lost some of you already. So for those of you who want to know why it's so helpful, why it makes such a difference, you can look up the website nourishmeorganics.com.au and you look for Boros Lazio. Lazio Boros. And yes, I think he's Russian. And if you go to the podcasts on that website, nourishmeorganics.com.au, go to the podcast and look up Lazio Boros, then that podcast will show you and give you more information on it. So the ideal is the 125 parts per million water, deuterium amount in the water, 125 parts per million for the deuterium depleted water. Now, so that's the technical part. Just a couple of other things. There is a third type of hydrogen which has an extra neutron or proton on it, and that's even heavier still, but and that's called tritium. So as you can see, that not all hydrogen is the same. Now, so how do you actually get this deuterium depleted water? Well, you can actually buy deuterium depleted water that's about, I think, from memory, 25 parts per million, and then you mix it with your ordinary water. But you just got to get the percentages right. And again, you can go onto the website for that. So if you're going to buy it, you have to go to Nourish Me Organics. They'll sell it to you, and you can also, it comes with the instructions on, depending on what type of problems you have, as to what the ratio should be. I'm not going to go into that here. I don't feel it's appropriate to do that. Just to make you aware of it, that if you want to treat yourself for a particular illness, cancer or whatever, then you can. That's your right to do that. You go to Nourish Me Organics, you get the information, you get the deuterium depleted water, and you mix it up with the ordinary water to get the right ratio, depending upon what illness or what condition or what problem you may be trying to help. But just for normal health and to stay healthy, 125 parts per million is the ideal. So if you're getting deuterium depleted water, it's about that's 25 parts per million. You mix it with the other. You just got to get the ratios right. That's all on the website. Now, I've done a lot of research with those cultures or those countries or those areas where people live very long lives, over 100, very healthy, still reproducing. And a lot of them, these places are at the foot of mountains where you have what we call glacial water. In other words, water coming down from the mountains that's actually melting, and it flows down, nourishes the crops, and also, the people can drink it. And they used to think that was due to all the minerals coming down from the mountain. But something else which may be attributed to their longevity and their health is the fact that if you want to make your own deuterium depleted water, you can actually do that. You simply get a large container of water, stick it in the fridge for a couple of hours, depending on how much water is in there, obviously. So I would say a litre of water, you leave it in for a couple of hours. Then when it's about half frozen, what you do is you pour off the unfrozen part, throw away the ice, and then refreeze it again for a couple of hours and do the same again. So you do it twice, where you half freeze it till it's about half ice, half water. You throw away the ice and you keep the water. And on the second batch, that is deuterium depleted water. And the reason is because the deuterium hydrogen freezes quicker than the non-deuterium hydrogen. So the deuterium hydrogen freezes earlier than the protium hydrogen because the protium is lighter and the deuterium is heavier, so it freezes quicker. And so that's the way you can create your own deuterium depleted water if you want to go through that time-consuming process. It won't do you any harm to do that, and it's certainly worth a try. I drink deuterium depleted water as well. Has it made any difference to me? It's difficult to say because I do a lot of things so often, but I'm certainly feel as good as I've ever felt. I still exercise regularly and vigorously, and I still have. I'm not aware that I have an energy problem. Obviously, I get tired depending on whether I overdo it or don't get enough sleep or whatever. I can still feel that, but generally I feel very well. Whether or not how much that's due to the deuterium depleted water is difficult to say. But if you have a health condition, then you're certainly going to know whether it's helping. So I think that's covered about everything. So I'm going to leave that to you and encourage you to give it a try and see the difference. So this is Dr. Bill. We're wishing you all the best in your quest for optimum health and a happy life. And I'll talk to you again on our next newsletter. Thank you.